This is Chris Riccio with Inflow Communications, and I'm so glad that you joined us today. Today's topic is a fun topic, and I hope that you see some value in this. I think with bot technology, folks are sort of mystified what bot technology provides, but I've simplified this in our customer engagement ongoing discussion series. So let's get into today's topic, which is customer engagement, the value of bots, and we'll get into the nitty-gritty in a moment. Now, as you know, Inflow Communications prides ourselves on education and sharing information with the world at large, as well as our customers and non-customers alike. So coming soon, we have a series of webinars coming up. So this Thursday, you will see a webinar at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, integrating your Mitel ShoreTel with Cloud Contact Center. And I see I have a typo there. Okay, and then on next Tuesday, August 25th at 10 a.m., we are going to cover a topic near and dear to my heart, which is the rapid changes in the contact center landscape. So much is changing so rapidly, and it seems that there's a new solution provider almost every other week. So we are taking a look at the rapid changes in the contact center landscape. And lastly, next Thursday, a week from this Thursday, August 27th, using conversation analytics with your Mitel system. Now, this is a really interesting topic, conversation analytics. So if you have time, check it out. It's completely changing the game in terms of contact center and analytics across the spectrum. I think you'll enjoy that. So with that being said, let's kind of get into our topic today. And we're going to have several topics that we'll be talking today, or at least details about our topic. If you have any questions, feel free to get in touch with us at the following number. I regularly help clients and non-clients alike, just to help clients understand technology. And I talk about a lot of use cases and what if scenarios. So if you're interested in having a discussion with me, it's all pro bono, no hooks. Feel free to reach out with the following phone number or send an email to contact@inflowcommunications.com. Luis, who you'll meet here in a moment, will forward those to me and we can have an offline discussion. So anytime you need to reach out, there's the contact info. By way of introduction, my name is Chris Riccio. I'm the Director of Contact Center and Advanced Applications here at Inflow Communications. Gosh, I've been around way too long to talk about, 25 plus years. And I'm one of those guys who always gets my hands into whatever's new and emerging. I just happen to be someone who loves to tinker and learn things. So part of that is how we got led into bots and really understanding the basics of bots. Along with me today as moderator is Luis Sauceda, who has 7+ years of sales project coordination, and we depend on Luis quite a bit here at Inflow, and he helps me tremendously. So say good morning to Luis, and Luis, if you'd like to say good morning.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you really enjoyed today's webinar.
Thanks so much, Luis, and I really appreciate you being here because he's been a little under the weather. So that being said, here's our agenda for today. We're going to give you a quick introduction of Inflow Communications, and then we're going to get really into our topic. We're going to cover what is a bot. I'm going to cover the basic structure of a bot, sort of demystifying the complicated process. We're going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of using bots. As we know, everything is 100% bulletproof, so I always like to talk about the pros and the cons. And then more specifically, I want to talk about bot integration and take a look at some providers that are providing bot technology. If you know me and you've been on my sessions before, you know that the number one thing I look for in anything is integration. So we'll have some good topic discussed there. And then we'll finish up with a summary and any Q&A. So let's get started with who is Inflow Communications. No doubt you've heard of Inflow Communications if you are here today, and we appreciate you being here. One of our key focuses is we have a sole focus on unified communication contact center solutions. We're not interested in selling you everything under the sun. We are flatly focused on UC and more specifically contact center solutions, and being focused that really allows us to really hone in on our craft and provide thoughtful solutions and direction for clients who are trying to absorb technology at the rapid pace it's being developed and delivered. We are a ShoreTel Mitel Platinum partner. We also are a RingCentral partner, and we are a Genesys Pure Cloud partner. We are number 2 in the Genesys landscape nationally and number 5 internationally, so we have a really good reputation with Genesys Cloud. We have offices and employees across the US in 10 states. We support over 200,000 endpoints and 800 customers, many of which have a national footprint. So those are the fun customers to work with. You'll see some in just a moment here. And ultimately, when it comes down to Inflow's philosophical approach, we're maniacal about customer experience. Anytime we interact with the client, we hope that your experience is exceptional. And if not, we'd love to hear about it, but we are flatly focused on ensuring our customers have and non-customers have the best experience with Inflow Communications, no matter where you contact us. Here is a list of some of our top clients that you probably know these names. There's Domino's, Zillow, which seems to be everywhere these days. Gosh, they're all over HGTV. I seem to watch that channel quite a bit. ThyssenKrupp, who is a premier elevator manufacturer, who has an international footprint. They have offices in Germany, the UK, the US, of course, several offices in Brazil, and then lastly, Driscoll's. So those are some names you probably recognize. So with that being said, let's get into our topic today. Now, we've been talking about customer engagement. We've been talking about all the things related to accessibility for your clients, being proactive about client engagement, ensuring that you're keeping your customers loyal. One of the things we have not spoken about is how can I automate even further that process? So today, the value of bots I thought was a topic that I am seeing more and more clients discuss, but they're also very timid about the technology. So I hope at the end of today's discussion, you feel much more comfortable with bot technology. And we're going to talk about what is a bot. Bot includes several layers. They can include artificial intelligence or AI, machine learning, and more are all part of standard bot processing. So let's talk about historically what represents a bot and sort of the negative experiences you may have had at the early iterations of bots. Now, when I talk to folks about bots, the first thing I hear is, well, we don't like bots. They're cumbersome to work with. They are difficult for my customer, and ultimately, they're just not very fun to use. That was as a result of early to market bot technology. However, with the addition of AI, machine learning, and natural language processing, bots are getting a level of sophistication that is truly like working with a human. The voice doesn't sound robotic if you're using a speaking bot, and the technology itself has become so sophisticated with machine learning that bots have come a long ways. And so what is a bot? A bot is a software application that runs automated tasks over the internet, over the network, depending on how you're utilizing it. But the automated piece is really what's critical about the bots. Now, when I say automated, yeah, I'm talking about tasks and exchanging information, but there's a nuance there that makes bots much more human-like today. And that has a lot to do with machine learning and natural language processing. Bots perform tasks that are simple and repetitive. When you break it down, bots do things over and over and over. And what bots are looking for is they're looking for patterns in dialogue and input. It's no different than collecting data, or if you're a client of a restaurant and you order the same thing time and time again, after a while, your server gets to recognize what you're looking for. And that's sort of how bot technology works. It's looking for repetitive patterns, dialogue, and input. Now, bots can process much faster than humans. So when you're thinking about bot technology, don't lose sight of the fact that they are a technical widget application that can really produce results and handle multiple clients simultaneously. At its core, bots will use artificial intelligence to make sound decisions, machine learning to keep track of the different ways in which clients offer feedback and structure when they're trying to get a question for a topic, and then natural language processing using text to speech to repeat information, to sound information back to the user if you found information in a database. So at the core of the bot, it's going to have a combination of technologies that are leveraged. And honestly, some of the bots that I've played with and worked with recently have really changed my mind. I happen to be one of those early adopters of bots that just, when I see a bot on a website, I just kind of say no. But now I'm more inclined to say, yeah, I'll interface with the bot because they're become so much more nimble. So let's talk about bots. What I want to give you is the basic elements of a bot. Hopefully this will demystify some of the guru voodoo speak about bots and technology in general. Bots have come quite a ways, and when I look at bots and how I tear them apart, now this is I would say, some would say a highly overly simplistic view, but my point here is I want you to get comfortable with the bots and the structure. So number one, inside of a bot, you have what's known as a intent. And intent is a category or inquiry. It's sort of a subset of topics, and then under that topic, you have certain things that will be asked, verbiage that we use, etc. So think about scheduling a delivery. When I think about the intent of a delivery, the intent for a delivery could be, I want to schedule a delivery. Now you know they're going to ask for date and time, location. So when you're building out an intent is, think about the topic at hand, and then insert into the bot the common words or phrases that will be said so that the artificial intelligence can capture that information to say, oh, you want to schedule a delivery because I heard the word delivery, I heard schedule, or in this case, the optimal word here is delivery. And then around that, you can have various ways that you might request a delivery. I'd like to schedule a delivery. I need to schedule a delivery. Can I get a delivery? But out of that, the commonality is delivery. So when you think about a bot, the first thing you're going to start with is intent. What are you trying to accomplish? And I've got 3 examples here. Schedule a delivery, book an appointment, or file a complaint. Pretty static, and we're going to talk about static versus more robust dynamic, but let's just kind of hang on to this topic first. The first component of a bot is the intent. We have to know what we're attempting to do. The second piece of the bot will be what's known as an entity or a slot. This just really allows the bot to say, hey, I heard you want to schedule a delivery, so now give me the date. Ultimately, the bot is going to capture what you've said or typed, depending on what sort of bot you're working with. It's going to put that into a category so it knows how to exchange data. So if you give it a date, it knows it's a data type. The data type is date. It's going to go to a calendaring system or pull up a date and time and pull out just the date section. Then obviously you get into, okay, time. Ultimately, the bot will categorize your responses, especially when we're talking about scheduling delivery, book an appointment, those things, in order to know how to request information from the next step, which we'll be talking about. So to make it simple, an entity or a slot is just how do I intercept the information so I can do a data exchange. Now, ultimately, no matter what the request is going to be, we're going to have to do what's known as a fulfillment or process the request. Once somebody has requested the scheduled delivery, we've stored all the information and feedback from the person we're speaking with. It doesn't matter if we're speaking with them over voice, a web chat, or a text message. We're going to put that information into a slot, and then we're going to make a web service request or process the request or fulfillment to a web service so we can say, hey, that date and time is available, you are confirmed and booked, things of that nature. So when I think about it fundamentally, you have these 3 primary components of bot. You have to have intent, or what's the topic and the words and discussion and questions around that intent. Then you're going to have a place to store the data and responses so that the bot can use that. And then ultimately you have a fulfillment, which is an attachment to a web service, presuming you are actually exchanging data. We're going to talk a little bit about how we even make that more simple, but these are the 3 basic components of a bot. Now, ultimately, bots will require administration from time to time. Most of the time when people think about bots, and this I think was the early mistake about bots, someone would deploy a bot and then leave it alone. You actually need to massage that bot and check in with the bot on a regular basis so you can assure that it's still operating based on what your current needs are and what it happens to be learning, et cetera. So when we deploy a bot, you're still going to have hands-on administration. So let's talk about some advantages and also some disadvantages of using bots, where they best fit and sort of the benefits and disadvantages of bots. So let's first talk about advantages. Number 1, bots can process requests much faster than an agent. In milliseconds, presuming you have the information and get a quick response. Usually when you think about a human, they have to memorize certain information and they're pretty good about it. But in other cases, we're talking about when we want a bot to be available 24/7, you may not have a human involved at that point, but having the accessibility to it is something that we'll need to think about, but it's certainly an advantage to having a bot available 24/7. Think about it. If I'm working with a bot, I happen to be up in the morning at 3 a.m. when the contact center isn't open, I can still book an appointment or check the status of an order, do some very simple tasks as self-service options. So bots are really helpful in that way. Now, the next piece is bullet is really critical. Bots can scale. Because they are a piece of software, they can handle and reach thousands of customers simultaneously, normally without a hiccup. So when you think about contact center technology, the amounts of calls that come through that are processed through the contact center, bots share the same sort of advantage. Anything that's technical application-wise has the ability to support multiple interactions and requests simultaneously. And when I think about the contact center, one of the things I think about is how does that relate to staffing? And this is probably the biggest advantage where a bot can come in, is that it can intervene and handle clients that otherwise would require agents to be on hand. So a bot changes that. You can customize bots. Bots are often and will always be customized based on specific needs. It improves your options for your customers. I think that's the critical piece. Instead of having to wait until the office opens at 9 a.m. to book an appointment, I can just interact with the bot and handle it that way. So it does change your customer's perception, because remember the tenets of customer engagement. One of them is easy access, able to support myself. And lastly, it provides the performance advantage to the contact center. We talked a little bit about bots handling thousands of requests simultaneously, and if you're using bots as an inbound process, that's a tremendous opportunity, as well as on outbound for marketing and collections and things of that nature, where you don't necessarily need a live human body. Bots give you tremendous advantage for performance in the contact center. On the disadvantages side, I think that a lot of folks believe and feel that once I deploy technology, I never have to manage it. Well, bots still require some administration by staff, whether an administrator, a junior tech in IT, some of that nature, or maybe an analyst is working with it. Bots are handled by various folks. Bots can be ineffective if they are not managed. If the dialogue changes and you don't have that information available to the bot to understand that, hey, we're talking about the same topic here, it could be mismanaged and frustrating your customers. So just know that one of the disadvantages, and it seems common sense to me, is that you're always going to take care of technology, but I'm trying to get everyone away from the concept of once you deploy automation, it just takes care of itself. And that's certainly the premise of bots, but you still need to manage it. It may require custom development based on need. So when we talk about fulfillment or exchanging data, oftentimes you will need to have an external web service that meets your system of record, whatever that may be, in order to do a data exchange. So it may require custom development depending on which tool you're using, and we'll talk about that in a moment. And it requires human intervention if the customer is not understood. I think what's critical when we're talking about bots is you've got to have a pathway out. Don't trap your customer into a technology holding pin. Give them the option to opt out so you can get to a representative where appropriate. So let's talk about bot integration. And when you consider bots, I think one of the most important things I look for in any technology is what's my level of process that I need to inject in order to use it. And I'm a big fan of point and click integrations. So I'm always looking for provide me the easy option. So when I look at bots, I always look for these key pieces. Number one, I prefer point and click integration. Since we're in the 21st century, and I've said this quite a bit, the 21st century affords us certain things with technology. I should no longer have to hire a developer to do strategic things such as connecting a simple bot. I should be able to point and click. And surprisingly, there are more and more bot providers that actually are point and click to integrate with the contact center. The next one I look for is my bot should be interconnected and conjoined with my IVR flows or my call flow processes as part of my contact center. There should be a fluidity. I can move from bot to IVR or vice versa, invoke a bot just for my IVR commands through point and click technology. Also, web services and data connectors. If my contact center has web services and data connectors, I should be able to use those if I'm already connected. So I'm always looking for these options. Now, that being said, some tools don't provide the level of ease that I prefer, but these are things that I always have on my hit list. Whether or not I get them is another issue depending on the product. I always look for built-in access to the contact center. Ultimately, if I'm in a bot or if a customer is in a bot and they come across a situation where they're posing dialogue that the bot doesn't understand, we don't want to continue that customer down that path. We need a way to opt out immediately to a representative. And when we do opt out to a representative, all of the previous conversation in that bot should transfer to the agent as well. That's a critical piece because you don't want to start the dialogue over with your customer. So when I'm looking for a bot technology, I'm looking for these things in addition to outbound campaigns. Now, we've talked a lot here in customer engagement about outbound campaigns for voice activity, for texting. You can actually, if you're integrated with a bot that integrates with your IVR, use that bot to collect information as part of that approach. So having the ability to have outbound campaigns as part of my bot process is a big win for the contact center. Now, again, a lot of some of the technologies we're going to look at here in just a moment may not hit all these bullet points, but they may hit the key ones. Out of all these, the key ones I look for are the top three, actually the top four. Now, let's talk about some bot providers, kind of exposing you to some of the bot providers that are out there and sort of what their advantages are. Now, that being said, I will show you one that I'm not familiar with, but because they they hold a big marketplace, I did bring them up. So Genesys Cloud. As you know, we're a Genesys partner. One of the things I think that Genesys does really well is they're forward thinking in terms of advanced technologies such as bots. The first one that comes to mind is that in my Genesys Cloud org that we use here at Inflow, I actually have Google Cloud Dialogflow. This is Google's bot. And some of the key benefits of the Google bot is that I have a direct integration with Genesys Cloud. I can actually configure my IVR flow process and reach out to bot just by pointing and clicking in my native tool. This is a tremendous advantage. It's interconnected with my IVR. Also, since I'm interconnected with the IVR, as soon as I run into trouble in my bot or the customer gets to a point where they can no longer be assisted by the bot, they can opt out and go directly to a contact center agent who's already waiting, and they get the information that's already taken place when they do opt out to an agent. Next, pre-built bot template flows. Google has always done a great job in coming up with great technology and then providing template-based flows. So what I'm talking about here is going back to our intents, one of the three pieces of a bot. The common intent, if you think about bots, is booking appointments, booking travel, getting my account balance. Those types of things are already built as a template flow process in Google. You just enable them. Now, there is a portion you do have to take care of. You do have to take care of the web services, the fulfillment, data exchange. But the fact that Google has already lined their product with many template flows that I can just grab means I spend less time fabricating my intent and spending more time with my web services integration. And lastly, what I like about Google is they have an open integration to web services, meaning you can point to a web service of choice out on the internet. Now, there's a little bit of work there. You do either have to bring in the Google SDK and develop it there, but from a fundamental, just get me to an operational point of view, I like Dialogflow, Genesys, the Google Dialogflow, because it has all the basic structure and templates that I can use. Now, Amazon Lex, everyone knows Amazon. Amazon Lex is their bot technology, and it has some great advantages with Genesys Cloud as well. There's a direct integration with Genesys Cloud. Because I sample and test products always, I actually have an integration with Amazon Lex. Because it's integrated with the Genesys Cloud Contact Center, I have accessibility to point to Amazon Lex directly from within my IVR. It also allows me to opt out to agents, and they do provide a sample bot flow to get you started. They don't have a catalog of applications that are ready-made like Google does, but they do well in terms of giving you a starting block. Now, one of the things that Amazon is in the business of is selling more Amazon services. So if you do want to do a web services integration, they do lean on you to use Lambda functions. That means in order for you to do web services, you've got to use their process, which means you're going to spend more services there. I think that's fine for some clients. Some clients like to do their own thing. That happens to be me. I like to do my own thing without having to, make my other services reverse compatible with Lambda functions. But it's still a good product nonetheless. And lastly, the one I'm really most excited about is Genesys Cloud has just released their Genesys Dialog Engine. Now, here, I'm going to tell you why I'm really excited about this. The other two products, Google Cloud and Amazon Lex, requires that I set up an Amazon account and a Google account and then do an API exchange back into Genesys Cloud. However, with Genesys dialogue engine being native, it's a built-in bot engine that's living and breathing inside the contact center application. And it's connected to IVR because it's a Genesys product. It's connected to agents because it's a Genesys product. And lastly, native web services integration. So when I think about my contact center, I'm always going to have some level of web services integration. The fact that I can reach that directly from my bot means I don't have to do anything exceptional or use another pass-through process such as with Google or Amazon in order to get that. Now, in fairness, I am getting access to the Genesys dialogue engine as we speak this week. I'm going to tear it apart and we'll present another session on the Genesys dialogue engine to give you more detailed feedback. But I am particularly excited about that. Now, there are other bot technologies out there. If you're familiar with Twilio, and we've talked a lot about Twilio in our webinars on customer engagement, Twilio Autopilot is their bot processing engine. It has direct integration with Studio. Studio is the equivalent of Twilio's IVR process and their Flex Contact Center, which is their contact center product. Because Studio is used to funnel calls and activities and hit web services, it's directly connected to IVR. It can also reach agents natively, and it also has the ability to have native web services integration. So when I use Studio or Twilio, I will point to my web services. Because the bot has that same access, it gives me a little bit more advantage that I don't have to redo things I've already previously engaged. Now, IBM Watson is another product that's been around for years. They have quite a sophisticated product, and it integrates across any cloud platform. Now, that being said, I haven't myself gone into their configuration. I've watched several videos and tore apart their application. It's quite extensive. Just know that it integrates across any cloud platform. That has access to REST API endpoints, which ultimately means that the bot can go to any web service that you already have, or maybe you have a CRM or a banking app that already provides an endpoint, so I can pull and push data. IBM Watson has opened up capability to get to that data via REST API endpoints. And it also includes sentiment analysis. When we talk about conversation analytics, sentiment analysis is the buzzword today. Being able to decipher whether I'm having a negative conversation or positive conversation and adjust accordingly. So it's worth taking a look at it. What I would say is bot technology has improved so much over the last couple of years with the emergence of more sophisticated artificial intelligence, machine learning, and more. I think you owe it to yourself to explore the options that are available to you. And the number one thing I look for in terms of bot technology, in addition to ease of use, is ultimately how am I going to report the information that's being transacted through a bot. So reporting becomes a key consideration. Now let's talk about where would I deploy my bot? Now bots can do such a level of sophistication, and I know that bot technology can be intimidating for certain providers and contact center because it's also new and so much is happening. What I do recommend is take it one step at a time. Create the building blocks, number one, to get you comfortable with bots and where they fit in the grand scheme of your customer engagement strategy, and slowly build. Some great ways to use bots is for simple data collection. Let's say you have an interaction coming into your contact center or someone at your website. You can do some basic data information. What are you looking for? Who are you? If you're an existing customer, what's your account number information? And then use that information just to pass that along to the agent. You won't necessarily use the bot to handle the full conversation, but it can do some of what I refer to as the busy work that your agents have to go through. Next, instead of thinking about bots as this open dialogue, a freewheeling exchange of information, start with static and easy options. And when I say static and easy options, I'm talking about simple true, false, or yes, no type of scenarios. What I'm really getting at is that although bots are highly sophisticated and you can go in a myriad of directions and go very sophisticated, what I'm trying to give you is a pathway to slowly step through it so that you can build blocks successfully until you get to the ultimate sophisticated bot process. So look at things in a more static and easy configuration with true false sort of scenarios, things that are easy to accomplish while minimizing your intents. Remember, the intents are the topics of dialogue. Expand your options slowly. I think what happens to a lot of folks that I work with is they get bot technology and they just want to jump off the cliff and get to it. I recommend taking it slow, build one success on another success, and if customers opt out, make sure the data is represented or presented to the agents. And ultimately, expand your options as you build success and, more importantly, understanding. I realize that bot technology can be quite a bit for a lot of folks, but if you use it systematically, you can get through it in a way that helps you build momentum. I'm not an all or nothing type of guy. Jump in with everything. I'm gonna build it out slowly. And here's some key ways that you could use bots: gather information for agents, do the front end customer validation. We know that in finance and healthcare, that's critical. If you're doing outbound reminders as part of engagement, you can interject the bot in there to handle invoicing, do collections, do appointments, the things that we have been talking about through our customer engagement series, and ultimately handling inbound inquiries at scale. Think about marketing and lead gen. Those businesses have quite a bit more going for them, and bots could do some of the heavy lifting. And I refer to it as bots can be your busy bots, or like a bee, do all the little busy work. When you look at bots, and we're talking about gaining momentum, bots are ultimately going to be part of your strategy for accelerating customer engagement, because bots can, and the customer engagement story can be part of proactively engaging your customers, providing easy self-serve options. Certainly accessibility 24/7 is a tremendous advantage when you otherwise would need staff to handle customer inquiries. Let the bots, and think about bots in doing your heavy busy work. So that being said, let's get into our summary. I'm about a minute over for you. So hopefully out of today, even though I overly simplified the bot process, is that you're taking away that bot technology has improved dramatically. Yes, there was a lot of negativity with the deployment of bots early on, but now that the sophistication has changed with AI, machine learning, and more, bots are much more nimble than they used to be. So I think a second look would be helpful. When you're looking at bots, use integrated bots for easy deployment and management. Nobody wants another application that requires heavy integration. However, if you're choosing the right context center solution, or the solution that already has a built-in bot process, you have less to manage and you can get to market much sooner with your bot technology and your process. Ultimately, combine bots with your customer engagement strategy. A huge benefit. You can run activities and things on the outside of the contact center itself as part of the contact center customer engagement strategy. So combining bots lets you leverage the best of both worlds. And ultimately, start simple and build your sophistication. At this point, are there any questions, Luis, or anything I can answer for anyone? No questions. Okay.
No
Well, if
question.
you have, great. Thanks so much, Luis. And if anyone's shy about asking questions in an open forum, feel free to reach out to us at the following phone number or the email address. Those will be sent to me and we can have a discussion about bots. And today, I hope you've learned a little bit about bots. Thank you so much for taking your time with us today. And hopefully this bot overview has given you a little more food for thought in how you might approach your customer engagement strategy and the value of bots.